Hello and welcome to this week's LOLC Securities Weekly Market Roundup. I am Megara Vijayamana.
And I am Tharadu Amarasekara. This is the sound of profitability.
Despite the recent bond restructuring, the Colombo Stock Exchange dipped last week while the seemingly bullish foreign investors stepped up their game. This boosted the net foreign inflows to 2.1 billion rupees in just 4 days of July. The benchmark all-share price index declined by 111 points and the active S&P SL20 index was down 38 points. Turnover was 1.96 billion rupees involving 59.8 million shares. The turnover was led by John Keells Holdings with 679 million rupees, Sampath Bank with 364 million rupees and Hatton National Bank with 103 million rupees.
Sri Lanka struck a deal to restructure bonds worth over $12.5 billion according to a recent statement. Now this brings the country closer towards completing the debt overhaul 2 years after it defaulted. The investors agreed to take a 28% cut on the principal amounts of the bonds.
The deal included the issuance of notes whose payouts are linked to economic growth and a potential governance-linked bond. The deal marks the culmination of more than a year of difficult negotiations. The ad hoc bondholder group holds about 50% of the outstanding overseas bonds and includes Amundi SA and BlackRock Incorporated. Sri Lanka's dollar bonds were among the best performers in emerging markets last year, delivering returns of almost 70%. The government had already struck debt restructuring deals with official creditors including China, India and the Paris Club, as well as with the holders of its local debt.
The Research Intelligence Unit, an international research and consulting firm, has reported a notable dip in the average land prices in the western province of Sri Lanka. This marks the first decline in the 20 years it has tracked the market. Typically, land scarcity in cities like Colombo creates constant upward pressure on land values. Even during Sri Lanka's civil conflict, land prices in Colombo continued to rise. The dip can be largely attributed to multifarious factors that were essentially spurred by the economic crisis and the subsequent IMF reforms.
News from the tyre sector. SEAT expands its export operations. Further to exporting to Egypt, Pakistan and Kenya, SEAT further expands its footprint of exports to Brazil, where Brazil becomes the latest export market for the tyres manufactured in Sri Lanka.
Brazil is the second country in South America to join the company's international footprint, which covers 16 countries. The commencement of exports to Brazil was preceded by SEAT Carani receiving the requisite in-metro certification from Brazil's national standards body. SEAT Sri Lanka has partnered with the top 3 agents in Brazil to promote its products. The company will initially export passenger car radials and industry-grade tires.
Sri Lanka is planning to enlist the help of the military to help boost deep-sea diving for tourists, as stated by the chairman of the Sri Lanka Tourism Promotion Bureau. This will be part of the larger focus on marine tourism. In addition to coral ecosystems near shore, Sri Lanka has a large number of wrecks around the island, some dating back centuries. According to the National Shipwreck Database of Sri Lanka, there are 114 shipwrecks, with the oldest dating back to 2nd century BCE. The Tourism Minister Harin Fernando also stated that authorities want to boost yacht ownership and yacht-based tourism.
Pygmy heads towards a 10th year celebration with a strong financial performance. Company revenues increased by 100% to 3.9 billion rupees. Strong top-line performance together with rigorous cost management saw the pre-tax profits soaring to new heights of 993 million rupees from 69 million rupees the previous year.
The platform's innovative technology solution delivers 11% year-on-year decrease in average ride-hailing fares per kilometer. Total movements are up on the platform up to 164%, and the all-time higher user base sees economic value generated for independent third-party drivers and third-party merchants rise by 118% to Rs 39 billion.
Now it's time for the international highlight of the week. The Labour Party, who won the Britain's general election, has made its mission to revitalise the UK's economy and provide good jobs and productivity growth all over the country. However, with productivity and wages stalled for the past decade and a half, it is a tough task. Incoming Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer and the Labour Party is expected to focus on unlocking billions in private investment to revitalise the UK economy and improve the standard of living. The Labour Party economic policies include kickstarting economic growth to make it the highest sustained G7 economy, making Britain a clean energy superpower with net zero status by 2030, reforming childcare and education systems, and building a more future-ready national health service.
And that's it for this week's LOLC Securities Weekly Market Roundup. No matter what investment decision you make it with the right intent. We will see you next week.